Hey guys, it's Robbie here. Along with Brian and Austin and myself, we're tackling a topic that needs to be addressed by the church, but it's pornography. And I know we have viewers of various ages, and so if this topic is sensitive to your ears, please talk with your mom and dad or someone that's in your home, whether you need to be listening to this or not. If you're riding, we've got a lot of families that listen to the podcast together. This may be one that you and your husband want to listen to, and then you make a decision on whether your child should listen to that. So thank you guys for listening, and we appreciate you.
This is Into the Fray, a podcast about real Christians having honest conversations. All right, this is Into the Fray with Austin.
I'm Robbie.
And today we have our special guest, Ryan. It's the first time we've ever recorded this episode. Ryan's our worship leader, and he's helped us start this podcast. We're lucky to have him here with us. We're going to start off again the same way we did last episode with a game. This time it's just going to be you two pulling cards.
Oh, okay.
So pull a card. What you got, Robbie?
Okay. So am I asking Ryan or am I asking both of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Has Ryan or Austin ever left a bad review on Yelp?
Yeah. Pizza Hut in Valdosta, they suck. Yeah, I'll say it. Dude, they are the...
We love you, Pizza Hut. Please give us...
In Nashville, they're great. In Lake Park, they're great. In Valdosta, they are the worst. It was the dirtiest table. Like, they didn't even try to wipe it off. They brought a dirty rag, and that's how they just made it more dirty.
Okay.
And they didn't pay attention to the fact that we were even there to eat. It was the worst experience. So I left a very sarcastic Yelp review on.
I've never left a Yelp review and I hate how Apple integrates it into, like, when you search a place on maps or whatever and you try to click it and you try to see reviews, you have to have Yelp to see the stupid reviews. So I refuse to make a Yelp account, and I refuse to download the app to see it. So no.
Funny.
Have you?
No, never.
Gosh, no, you're just great.
Yeah, I wouldn't go down extra step either. That's fine.
All right, can y'all name 5 states that begin with the letter M?
Massachusetts, Mississippi,
Montana.
3.
I want to say Montgomery, but that's not a state.
That would be Alabama.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Maine.
4.
Massachusetts. Did you say that?
We already said that.
We already said that one.
Okay.
We said Minnesota?
No. Did we?
Are there any more M states?
I'm sure there are.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Geography not my strongest subject, so.
Same. Yeah. I've barely been out of the state of Georgia, so.
Some would consider Montgomery a different state, though, even within Alabama, I think. So
Yeah.
I love Alabama, but it's kind of it's unique.
Yeah. Do y'all travel a lot?
I don't know. When Carrie and I, before we had kids, FYI, Ryan, before you have kids, travel. We went everywhere. I mean, we were gone constantly, kind of thing. And then, kids just kind of, it changes things. Everything, including travel. So, we try and get away a couple of times a year now, intentionally. But
I'm not a big traveler either. I've been to Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina. That's about it.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of right here. Never flown on an airplane.
Same.
Yeah, never been
Really?
anywhere super exciting.
Huh.
And I just went to Tennessee 2 years ago when me and Kelsey first got married. So it's like I hadn't even been up that far.
I'm
yet
with you.
either.
That
So.
Tennessee's the farthest.
That's good to know. Yeah, my wife, man, she would just live on the go. Hotels, cruise ships, whatever kind of
That
thing.
sounds stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it too, though. I just like different cultures. I like meeting new people, kind of thing. When we're out trying new things. I was a homebody growing up, so it really is out of my comfort zone in many ways.
I don't like change a lot. I mean, I wear the same outfit every day for a reason. So that thought of going somewhere and being in a completely new place, it's too much chaos. I need a structure. I need plans.
I'm kind of the same way too, but I think Kelsey and I would move to Tennessee if our family wasn't all around here.
Really?
Because we love it so much.
Yeah.
We love that area up there. So,
Like Nashville, Tennessee?
well, we've only been to like Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge,
Mhm. Yeah,
that
it's
kind of
beautiful.
area. But man, if you could live on the outside, non-touristy parts of that, wake up every day and just look at that,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's dive in. Today we're going to have a conversation about pornography, sex, lust, all that, just into one. And as I was thinking through this topic this week, it was interesting because we're in a time in our culture right now where thoughts about sex are changing a lot, and the conversation around sex and sexuality and even our identities with that are the conversation's moving in a very rapid pace, and even the people leading the conversation don't seem to actually have a good definition for some of these things. And as I even thought about, just if we're talking about sex or pornography, the conversation around that's changing because as we move from like traditional television, like your NBCs and on your dish networks and all that stuff, to streaming services, what's allowed on the TV screen is different. Like me and Ryan have talked about this of like, we're not even the guys who like, if a movie says the F word a bajillion times, we're probably more likely to be like, okay, it's fine, like we'll deal with it. We're not the guy who's just like, we're not Ned Flanders.
Yeah.
But even with the shows that we're trying to give a chance and we're more gracious towards, the sex scenes in them are getting way more graphic. And they're, at this point, I say that they're pornographic.
Yeah.
Like, they may not be on Pornhub, but they might as well be because of how graphic they are. But it's interesting to me, as I was thinking about it, of how the shows that I consider the most pornographic TV shows out right now are directed towards kids and teenagers.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm thinking about like the Euphorias and the 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
Of like, I ain't never been to a high school like that. But that's what culture is saying.
And they're having adults play these teenagers too, so it's like this weird it's like this weird thing where you got like 20 and up adults playing like 14, 15 year olds, so then it confuses your mind even more because you're seeing this grown woman playing this 14-year-old. What the heck?
Yeah.
You're giving a lot of, like, people are giving a lot of excuses because it's like, oh, it's a great story and all that stuff, but then it's like, yeah, but this is doing something to our brains. This is not what story's about. And I even think about, like, me and Ryan listen to like Cody Coe and Noel Miller, and even them, non-Christians, are saying, like, a show like Euphoria, they're asking the question of, why are we sexualizing teenagers so much?
Yeah.
Why is our culture moving to this direction? I'm just like, man, this is like an interesting conversation, I guess.
Yeah, and I think you and I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, Austin, but Billie Eilish. I looked at it again today just to kind of get more of a context of it, but she says when she was 11, she was, kind of, was her first experience, I guess, with pornography. And obviously she's young. I don't even know, is she 20 now? I'm not sure how.
I don't think she's there yet.
I think she's still a teenager kind of thing. But now she's speaking out against pornography and just, her personal experience and how it just consumed her life and twisted her thought process on what sex was and just, the addiction aspect of it. She brought a lot of stuff to light. Again, someone who is, in the world idolized and seen as this, just amazing voice and has this platform. And as far as I know, an unbeliever, right? That's speaking out against pornography and the power of it.
Yeah.
That's good.
One of the things I was reading, I had the book somewhere. It was Jefferson Bethke's book, Love That Lasts.
Okay.
Yeah, with him and his wife wrote it. It's about like their love story and how God's had to change their ideas of sex and love and all that stuff. And in it, he did a chapter on pornography and his story with it. And one of the things he said in it was the average age of first exposure keeps declining. And the most conservative estimates say that kids first see porn around 11, and many sources are claiming it as young as 8 today. Yeah. So kids are more likely to see porn before they have even lost all their baby teeth.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And I think, too, just getting back, because when we say porn, you may think, a porn site or a movie or whatever kind of thing. But again, if it's on, Netflix, if it's on regular cable TV or whatever that kids are watching.
Yeah.
You know, if it's on these TV shows, it may be what we air quotes kind of soft porn kind of stuff, but it's still, you know what I mean? They're exposed to it just so young.
Yeah.
I remember for me, man, I was wanting to say I was kindergarten, my first exposure to it. Yeah.
Wow.
So I would have been
Yeah.
6 or
Before
7.
the internet.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
way before. But I tell you this, dude. Yes. Way before the internet.
Long time ago.
I'm a dinosaur. But yeah, the thing of it is, man, just the powerful, just how powerful the images are and how it affects our brain. Kind of like I can tell you where I was. I could lay it out before you, kind of thing, in context.
Yeah.
And that was a long time. I mean, almost 40 years ago.
It's the same thing for pretty much everybody I've talked to, too. I think, Robbie, you've mentioned this one time. Everybody can remember how old they were,
Yeah.
even down to details of, like, what it was. Like, for me, I was, like, 11, 12, so I was young, too. I was at a friend's house, sleepover kind of deal with a bunch of buddies, and I remember exactly, like, kind of what the whole scenario, what we were doing, the whole scenario of the video and all. It's like, man, that is impactful.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It, again, made me think about another quote that Jefferson Bethke put. Said, "This is something we don't like to admit, but pornography actually changed me, just like a narcotic addiction does.
Yeah.
It can change the brain's plasticity and
Yep.
completely desensitize your dopamine center. When people watch porn, the amount of dopamine surges, which then desensitizes the brain to the same level of surge, which means more is needed for a bigger hit, which is exactly why ordinary sex with a human being becomes no longer desirable or exciting."
Yeah.
And man, that was the thing that like I've noticed over the years of like since being exposed to porn is that first hit that I had no longer does it for me. I like over the years had to keep going deeper and deeper and further and further.
Yeah.
Because it's an addiction.
It is. Yeah, and dude, I've sat with so many different guys specifically that battle and have battled addiction. I mean, from a variety of drugs and alcohol, but also porn. And what Austin just shared, if that doesn't kind of resonate with you, you just not hearing, hey, I'm addicted to this, but then just kind of laying out first exposure and how it just consumed their life. They talk about the rush before viewing. I mean, for guys even kind of my age or maybe a little bit younger, before it was so at your fingertips on a phone or even a computer kind of thing, going out and buying DVDs and things of that nature, they would talk about the rush, i.e. just like if they were going out to buy, drugs or whatever else. It was kind of that whole anticipatory, like, just rush, this high before the high. And then they would talk about, how it affected their minds and just be consumed by it. They going to bed, waking up. I mean, it's an addiction.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's part of one of the things I was thinking too about is when, especially as guys, when I tell my friends I don't watch porn, there's almost like this reaction of like, how can you go without it?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That's so weird that you're not watching it. Don't you need it? And I think it goes to that same conversation around sex of there's this idea, and for me, like I'm still a virgin, 24, going through high school especially, there's this pressure I felt like of, well, you have to have sex. Like if you don't, you're a nobody, you're a loser, you're like behind on things. But there's this, I don't know, just this this weird identity thing around it. Of you find your identity on whether you've had sex or not and whether you're watching porn or not. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think even to the fact that, or just the ideology that, okay, if you're not married, if you're not in a relationship, if you're not with someone that you are having sex with, then you have to have another outlet, right? I mean, you will explode. I mean, or you're not finding satisfaction. I mean, there's that whole something's missing if you're not doing it. You can always porn.
Yeah. And I think that even goes to like the issue of where sexuality is not anything sacred anymore. It's like this cheap pornography has made it cheap. Even how we have sexual relations with other people in our culture right now, and even like it's seeping into the church, sex isn't this beautiful gift from God. It's just something that you use to have fun with, and that there's nothing sacred about it. I guess it's just what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I think getting back to what you began with too, Austin, is okay. Well, what is it? I mean, it's a good and powerful gift that God's given us, that is sex within that marriage covenant. I mean, I think even it's the twisted view, even for Christians. But I've heard, I remember just years ago having non-Christian friends having conversations like this, and man, it was like, well, Christian sex must be boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole idea, and my thing is like, dude, all right, go back to Genesis. Let's go back before the curse. Let's go back before Genesis 3. Look at Genesis 1, 2. It's a good and powerful gift that God's given. Was it for procreation to multiply? Well, yeah, but it was also for pleasure.
Yeah.
It was good, you know? And so I think there's this misconception, and pornography just amplifies it. What sex is, and it's a means to an end, and, you know, it's this complete just disconnect with intimacy, just kind of
selfish.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's kind of the mentality, I'm afraid, for a lot of Christians, is not understanding this good and powerful gift that God's given us.
Yeah. Did you feel like this growing up in church, Ryan? Of like, I felt like anytime I heard about the conversation of sex, it was for Christians. Sex is for when you're married. That's it. There wasn't any talk about it being for like you and your spouse's pleasure or your good or anything. Like, that's the conversation stopped there. And so now with like, as the culture talks about it more, they're talking about like, no, you got to discover who you are sexually, and that's why all these TV shows are wilding out.
Yeah, that's right. Growing up, yeah, exactly. They would just leave it at that. Like, sex is for marriage, end of story, and then not talk about anything else. Even when you're like a late teenager, fixing to go into your early 20s, it's like they were still just like, it's just for marriage. That's it. Like nothing else. They wouldn't talk about the way God designed it, and I think that would help. Explain it to a lot of the even kids in high school. Is like, it's designed by God for us, for pleasure and for procreation, and it's very good.
Yeah.
So just leaving it as it's for marriage, that's the end. Obviously that's not working for us.
No, because kids, I think we're foolish if we think they're not asking these. Like, we know of kids all the time who are like, they're pregnant and whatnot, and they're watching all these TV shows. Like, I was even thinking about on the ride up here, a lot of kids aren't watching NBC. Some of them are watching Netflix or HBO Max. A lot of them are watching YouTube though, and TikTok. And YouTube and TikTok, they are for sure wilding out on there. I was thinking about Jake Paul. Jake Paul, before he became the famous boxer, which that's debatable. He he made YouTube videos, and his target audience was like, I don't know, 6 to 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at the clickbaits for those videos, they're so sexual. They're like girls in bikinis, and he understands that sex sells, and that especially with kids it sells. They're interested. They're trying to figure out what this is, especially the kids going like, they're going through puberty or whatever, and they're in middle school where that's all heightened. They're curious, and the conversation cannot then stop in the church of, well, sex is just for marriage. Let's not talk about it anymore.
Which is what we do. Let's just be honest. This is usually I'm not going to throw an umbrella, because we're having this discussion.
Yeah.
And I praise God that we are doing this to have these topics, because there's just certain topics we just don't talk about in church, and they are very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, even this, if we were honest, it's a little uncomfortable kind of thing. 3 guys sitting around the table talking about pornography, kind of thing. Yeah. But within the church, I mean, I remember years ago, man, having a counseling session along with another adult with a young man, and was talking about masturbation. And when he said it, it was like this dirty word that he said, kind of thing. And no one had ever talked to him. His parents hadn't. It was just within the church. Y'all ever heard him teaching on that?
Mark Driscoll.
Negative.
I don't know. We might want to YouTube where that came from, though.
Don't. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? There's just certain topics that we just don't talk about. We avoid, even if there's direct scripture related to it. We definitely don't talk about it. And to Ryan's point, when it comes to sex, I mean, even saying that behind a pulpit, that's kind of naughty. And we might say, okay, we could quote some scriptures in Ephesians 5 and Hebrews on, 13 on honoring the marriage bed and things of that nature, but we kind of leave it there. You know, we don't talk to singles, we don't talk to teenagers, we don't talk about, pornography. There's just certain things that we just don't. And again, I think, okay, if this is a gift from God, I want to know, because he gave it as a good gift.
Yeah.
I want to know not only how to use it, but I want to, if Paul says, 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether you eat or drink, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Mm-hmm. Now, I will push at that, and I'll be like, okay, so you can drink this bottle of water for the glory of God or do it not. What about sex? Yeah. And man, even godly married couples get uncomfortable with that. Ooh, I don't know. Like, is that... It's a good and powerful gift from God. You can.
Yeah, we need to address that topic with, even with married couples, because if we're being honest, there's one of the reasons people have divorces is because of the sex life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're like, well, we're either not doing it or it's not fun anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, man, the church needs to enter into that conversation of
absolutely,
like, part of the being naked and unashamed.
Yes.
Is you as in a marriage covenant between a man and a woman, you exploring each other, you discovering who each other is, naked and unashamed. Mm-hmm. And that is beautiful, because the world's not selling that. When they even sell porn, it's still like there's a lot of shame around that.
Oh yeah,
there's still a lot of shame around your sexuality and all that whole conversation. The world can't provide what God's providing when he talks about sex.
Yeah, and to the shame thing too, Austin. I mean, for anybody that's ever, and when I say addicted, I mean, obviously there would be some say, oh, I'm not addicted, I just view it every now and then for enjoyment, or my spouse. I mean, I've heard all kind of stuff, kind of deal. But the point is, for a lot of those, they don't want to talk about not only it being a gateway. I mean, because for a lot, I've had several conversations with people who it did start very just watching something on TV, a television show, or visiting the site or whatever else. It just led to something a little deeper, darker kind of thing that eventually went to a place they would have never thought they would have went.
Oh, yeah.
What they were viewing, prostitution. I'm talking about just stuff that, and some of them were married.
It's back to the drug point that Austin made. It's just like that. I mean, you just keep going deeper and deeper, and it gets darker and darker. And then even you get to the point where you're just like scrolling for hours on end, just trying, like you said, the deeper you get into it, it's just like you're just trying to find something you haven't seen. And it's like...
Yeah. And then how many of those, though, Ryan, guys who would be very honest, or ladies who would be very honest, Austin mentioned guilt. It is one of those things. It's the most spiritual, I believe, numbing things that we can do as a believer kind of thing, is pornography and sexual immorality. But how many of those would, even if they're, if they're a believer for sure, even if they're not a believer, how much guilt and shame comes after that?
That's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and my friends ain't talking about that stuff. there's way too much guilt and shame about it. Even though in my friend group, we know who's watching and who's not. Mm-hmm. We know who's done the deed, who's not. Yeah. It's I don't know. It is super interesting how much guilt and shame plays a part in something that so many people struggle with, and then how little we have conversations about it.
Yeah.
But then that brings up the problem of how the church is, as a whole, specifically in the West, has taken a backseat to the conversation, let the culture drive it. Mm-hmm. And we wonder why Christians are walking away from the church. It's because we don't have conversations we need to be having.
Yeah.
We need to be more honest. We need to be honest that God there's a whole book in the Bible called the Song of Solomon that deals with this. Beautiful. That deals with that would paint a beautiful picture. The way of Jesus, how I've understood it the last few years, isn't Jesus is trying to take all the fun out of life. Mm-hmm. He's got a better way to do life.
Yeah,
that's right.
And the Song of Solomon is a beautiful example of what the better way to have sex and romance and all that stuff.
Yeah, and if you read the Song of Solomon and not just try and say, oh, it's poetic, it's, this kind of stuff. Nah, bro. If you read that book, Solomon's talking about intimacy. Yeah. As it should be with your beloved kind of thing. And that's a beautiful thing. There's no reason to hide from that or
growing up in a True Love Awaits era type things, you remember that, Austin?
Oh, yeah.
People would always say, imagine going into your marriage bed and never have seen like another woman naked or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, we would all laugh because we were like, yeah, you know what? I've seen like hundreds of those. What it is, what it is.
Yeah.
And even to Austin's point earlier, TV's gotten so bad. But really, I used to think this was corny as crap. But if I could just freaking go and do it over, good night.
I know. Yeah. And here's the thing too, man. Like, I have a lot of conversations with people who are not believers, and we'll talk about stuff like this because, they recognize, man, dude, I got a problem. This is affecting my marriage. This is affecting, if they're not married with their, girlfriend or whatever kind of thing. And if I'll start with, I don't even start with Genesis 1. I won't even quote them scripture. I won't even start with God. Now, stay with me. I know I'm a pastor, but dude, I'll talk to them about stuff like, okay, well, how does that affect your relationship with someone of the opposite sex? Can you look them in the eyes? Can you have a conversation and build a relationship without it not being a means to an end? Yeah. Because porn obviously just dehumanizes and makes them an object and a means to an end kind of thing. But dude, I'll take it a step further, and I'll talk to them about sex trafficking. I'll talk to them about rape and stuff, because the mindset for most is, dude, it's just two people or whatever kind of thing that are willingly doing this and getting paid and enjoying and whatever else. That may be the case some, but that ain't always the case. Mm-hmm. And even if in that situation it's not sex trafficking, rape kind of thing, you are feeding the machine that is that. And it just gets their mind at least thinking, about like, okay, this is even bigger. Because one of the things about pornography specifically is who's it hurting. It ain't hurting nobody. It's their mentality. You know what I mean? I'm viewing something it's nobody else knows. I'm not going out hurting someone else kind of thing. That's kind of the mentality.
Throw something into that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was thinking about that, even that idea of, well, it's not hurting anybody, right? I'm doing it alone in my room, whatever. Yep. Jordan Peterson was talking. Someone brought that up to him when he was talking about porn. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, there's a statistic out there that where porn has been introduced into a community, sex crimes have been lower. Mm-hmm. But there's still damage done. There's damage to, what you said, of the people viewing that porn cannot control themselves. They are being controlled by this demon of lust, right? And to me, that's I hate that idea of being controlled by something that's not me or not God, right? Of, I can't control my feelings and my urges, and so I have to get this release out somewhere. Like, that's so, that's not a good life to me, And I think, like we've been talking about, is it does damage your brain. It changes your mind. One of the things Jefferson Bethke said was it apparently shrinkens your brain, and it does the same thing drugs do. But then also, like you said earlier too, is it changes how you view the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever your sexuality, whatever. For me, I know that we talked about this in the Singleness episode. It was hard for me to make friends with girls. Mm-hmm. Just platonically, because this demon of lust has warped my brain, and I can no longer look at them in the eye, and any thought of a relationship with them immediately has to end with sex. Yeah. And it's like, that's, again, it's not a good life. Mm-hmm.
Or you're leading up to that. You're building eventually to that being the goal, with the opposite sex. Yeah.
Man, even as I'm thinking about that, of the idea that pornography makes life easier, or that it makes, just that the whole idea of you can't control your lusts. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how our culture has bought into that. And then again, I have to step back and say, well, I've bought into that. Sure. I've struggled with being like, well, yeah, I can't control this thing. And for years I lived in that state of shame and guilt, and that slavery. That's what it is. Yeah. Of Jesus has set me free, but I still got these chains on me, and it's not because he didn't loosen them. It's just because I'm holding them on, because I believe that the sin that I've partook in has so overwhelmed me and overtaken me that I can't really be free.
Yeah.
I can't really be redeemed of this issue of lust.
And that's what Satan would want you to believe for the rest of your life too, just to keep you entrapped in it.
Yeah. And so then I was thinking about the stories of Jesus with whether it's the woman at the well or with the woman in the she's caught in adultery.
Yep.
And both of those are people who have struggled with sexual sin. They have been labeled by society because of their sexuality or how they've experimented with all that stuff. And yet Jesus looks at them and says, no, that's not who you are. You can have a new life. You can go and turn away from this stuff and live the good life I'm promising you. The life that's abundant, you know? And I think about that with the people who struggle with porn is like, you may feel like this is going to be your life forever. And you, for sure, may struggle with that forever. And it may be a constant battle. But you don't have to be a prisoner to it.
No. Because, I mean, we've been talking a lot, and you have specifically, Austin, about how it affects your mind. And that's absolutely true. But Paul reminds us in Romans 12, too, that part of our worship, our living sacrifice, is renewing our mind.
Yep.
And that comes through the Spirit of God, the Word of God, all of those things, and where your focus is and stuff. But the good news is for anybody that's listening to this, and you feel like this vicious cycle will never end. It's just you're so deep, dark, engulfed by it. There's no escape kind of thing. And that's exactly what Ryan said. I mean, the enemy wants you to stay there. There's no hope kind of thing. And even if the battle is, okay, it's up and down, you feel like, 3 months, 6 months or whatever, winning, and then you fall kind of thing. It's all part of the process. But that renewing of the mind, that restoring the spirit that lives inside of you, it's empowering. It's possible. It is most definitely possible.
Do you feel like this too, Ryan, of like when we've talked about, not us in this room, but when the conversation comes up about struggling with pornography and trying to fight it or fight lust, that the conversation is like, just run away from it, flee it, and that's it.
Yeah, no farther advice than that. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people will tell you: run away, flee. That's what the Bible tells you: flee from sexual immorality, run. But I feel like we need more help than that too. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, man, really, what can I do? And for me, it was just like deleting anything that caused me to even think of that situation, like you were talking about, even TV shows, movies, anything that causes you to even think about stumbling, you got to get rid of it. That's part of that fleeing mentality too, and I think we don't teach that enough. Like, if you're struggling with pornography, you don't need to be on Instagram where your feed is girls and bikinis and TikTok and all that stuff. Like, yeah, these algorithms and stuff, they'll keep feeding you that stuff, and you'll just keep falling over and over and over again. Yeah. So, I mean, y'all talked about this on the social media episode. How much good is it? Do you really need that in your life? So if the answer is, yeah, I can live without social media, and social media is causing you to stumble, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would even piggyback off that too, Ryan. Like, I'll tell guys, yes, it's the visual, but also, I'll tell them, hey, music. And I don't care what genre it is. Yeah. You ain't got to listen to K-Love all the time kind of thing. Whatever your genre is. But whatever it is, if it's, again, just objectifying and dehumanizing and just sex, and belittling women and stuff like that, you need to get that out too.
Yep.
Because that you're putting in your ears is going to that mind as well. That's right. And it's painting a picture.
Yep.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is I was listening to some of J. Cole's old For Your Eyes Only album, and I thought it was interesting. Again, someone who I don't think he calls himself a Christian. I know he says he believes in God, but he has 3 songs on that album just with a high view of women. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy who's like lived the rapper lifestyle. He's made songs in the past degrading women.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. But I think it's interesting how you're seeing a shift, even with like a Jay-Z's 444 album.
Yeah.
Dude, he had a song on there, the 444 song, where he talks about how, as a young man, all the sins of his past, he's gonna have to answer to them in the future, especially with his kids.
Yep.
He cheated on Beyonce, and one day his daughter Blue is going to ask him about that. He said it's going to tear him up inside, having to explain to his daughter how he had such a low view of women, especially of their mom.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, that's so interesting that even people outside of the church are they're seeing the problem and they're realizing, hey, it's not just flee, it's we gotta flee to something else, and we got to renew our mind.
Yeah.
I think about like the Desert Fathers. I'm sorry if I'm ranting. I'm thinking about the Desert Fathers though. There's a story of one of them that he's like walking in the desert, and a beautiful one walks by, and in the story or whatever it says that it's a demon disguised as a beautiful woman, trying to entrap him with lust. And he immediately drops what he's doing and just runs back to the monastery and like literally flees.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just flee. At first, that's what I thought. I was like, man, that's whack.
Yeah.
Like, learn how to control yourself.
Yeah.
But he flees to the monastery, goes to his cell, and does what Jesus does when he's alone and prays, just ruthlessly praying and trying to confront all those evil thoughts he's having and bring them to the Father.
Yeah.
And saying, God, I need you to like rewire my brain because I'm still not, it's that constant sanctification process of I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I want to be able to fight this.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's that Paul mentality of taking every thought captive.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. It's not just looking at it. If you looked at it like I did 40 years ago, or you've had sexual relationships outside of marriage, all of that stuff's still in there. And I tell you what the enemy loves to do. I can have like a theater in my mind. Like, it's like, where did that come from?
Yep.
You know, that was 20 years ago, and all of a sudden it's like it was yesterday in my mind. Okay, so in that moment, I have a choice. I'm either going to run with it and let it play with it a little bit kind of thing, or I'm going to take it captive. He's got enough ammunition, Satan. He got enough for me. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to add any more to his artillery. Kind of like, I want that. Yeah, but I say this too to Ryan's. I'm just very practical, man. I remember as being a very brand new believer and having a godly man. I remember exactly where I was. Won't say his name, but sitting in the truck and man, guy that I respected. I mean, outside of like church life, like he was just a good guy, and he had a lot of the same hobbies and things of that nature. But he loved Jesus, and one of the first things he did was open up to me about his struggle in the past with pornography. And I thought, wow, I mean, here's a guy who I respect a ton, who loves Christ, amazing family, all of these things, and he's telling me about something that is extremely sensitive and unexpected kind of thing. But being transparent like that and be willing to say, okay, yeah, I have a problem, or have had a problem anyway with this that's not being talked about in the church, you know, that's kind of thing. But as a new believer, I'm telling you, dude, that did wonders for me, because it felt like, okay, I can go to him and I can go to others. And guess what? I can even share my struggles because there's somebody else that's struggling with those things too.
Isn't that the beauty of how God works, though? Because it's not like that's this rare thing that happens in the Christian world. Our holy book is built on that, built on the transparency of just being very honest about the raw messiness of the human struggle and how God enters into that, especially when it comes to, like you said, like the example she gave, accountability of brothers holding each other accountable. Right. I think of the story with David, of him and Bathsheba, and was it Nathan who held him accountable? Yep. Like, we need the accountability. We need the brotherhood, the sisterhood of just the, like we talked about last week, community of when we're broken, when we're the paralytic, we need the community to come around us and drag us to Jesus.
That's right. And with pornography, again, this will be one, because with the other sins, because it's maybe out in the open, or we're not quite as ashamed. I don't know why, but we're just quicker to share that with brothers and sisters in Christ. Pornography is one of those things you just don't tell. I mean, you just don't come out and tell a lot of people, even within the church kind of thing.
Yeah, you dip your toe
That's
in
right,
a little bit.
It's tough. But yeah, that accountability, man, is huge. But you got to be vulnerable and you know, share with somebody.
That's why purposeful discipleship is so important. I never had anybody growing up that would ask me those questions. I had, you know, my Sunday school teacher and the youth pastor and friends that I would talk to and stuff, but nobody older than me said, hey, you're young and you're probably dealing with this. How about I tell you my story and help you through it? which is something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm absolutely going to do that with my kids, with my sons and daughters, and looking for younger generations within the church to do that with. That comes down to the one-on-one discipleship principle. I mean, share your truths with these kids, and don't let another generation succumb to the same sins that you have.
Absolutely. And if I can say this too, Ryan, because you and I are married, kind of thing, not together, but he has a wife, I have a wife. Just to make that clear. But the false idea of this isn't hurting anybody when it comes to pornography. Well, that's not true. It's self-deceiving, for one. It is hurting you.
Yep.
And if you are married, it is absolutely, that is your covenant relationship. And I promise you, I don't care if she has no idea, he has no idea, whatever it is, it will unfortunately naturally overflow into that relation. It will rob you of intimacy in a myriad of ways. It will cause just headache in your life when you're married. So, and I love here. Jesus talks about, he always raised the bar. And so, when he's Matthew 5, 6, and 7, the Sermon on the Mount, he's raising the bar. Okay. You thought adultery was just the physical.
Yeah.
Because I'll have people tell me that. Oh, I ain't sleeping around. I'm not, doing this kind of thing. But Jesus raises the bar. If you look at a woman lustfully in your heart, you've committed adultery in your heart. Man, if I said, I've cheated on my wife 100 times. And if you thought that was physically, you'd be like, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
But if I said, oh, no, that's just pornography kind of thing, kind of deal. Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is. Same thing.
Yeah. I think that's something, too, that I kind of go into is, especially because we're all men here, the low view of women pornography, women struggle with pornography too, but I think there's a specific target on women as a victim of. I couldn't tell you one male porn star, but I can tell you a good bit of the female porn stars. And that's just because they're used way more as the tool to get the culture to buy into this propaganda or whatever. And it was some Jefferson Bethke seminar, but it was like a TEDx talk type of situation, and he was talking about pornography, and he brought up this issue of sometimes when we mention pornography and why it's wrong, we say, well, that's someone's daughter.
Yeah. That's
someone's wife.
Yep.
And he brought up the point of that is someone's daughter, that's someone's wife. But that's not what gives her value. That is someone. That's what. Yeah. That's why she has value. That's why you shouldn't, be watching porn. That's why you shouldn't be degrading women and having such a low view of them. And he said one of the things that we struggle with in the church is remembering to bring high value to people. Of we need to capture that idea. That's a very theological concept of the Imago Dei of people have a high value. Of when you look at the story of Genesis and Exodus, the reason Moses is writing Genesis the way he's writing it is because he's writing it to an audience who does not feel like high value people. They feel like slaves, they feel downtrodden, they feel beaten up. And him telling them that you are made in the image of God, that's that high value concept that you only find in Christianity. That's right.
Yep. And I think too, even Austin, because I think even for myself when I think about it, okay, well, it's a person that's watching it for a reason kind of thing. But okay, so for the guys specifically, if we're watching this, then this is just unrealistic expectation. When it comes to intimacy. And then not only is unrealistic, it's just downright unfaithful kind of thing. Because when, as far as intimacy goes, that is not, that is not intimacy kind of thing.
Awkward.
But even for ladies, man, for young girls, whether they are viewing it or it's a show like Euphoria or something like that, their whole mindset is, okay, well, this is what it's supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. And this is what's going to bring me value and purpose and all. And that's twisted as well.
Yeah. I think it's crazy, too, of how when we're talking about if we're watching porn and we bring that into the bedroom with our spouse, how degrading it is to them, because then they're constantly in competition with someone who's not committed to you, who hasn't chosen to love you, unconditionally.
Yeah.
They're constantly in that competition with someone they've never met.
Yeah. I've actually had couples that watch it together, kind of thing, and it's to spruce up their sex life, kind of thing. And I've talked to them. Okay, well, how'd it work? Kind of thing. Did it help? And just about every time that they continued to talk to me about it, kind of thing, initially it was kind of like addiction the first time, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But then after that, it became a comparison. There was some insecurities that started. It's just naturally kind of thing. So yeah, I think the crazy thing, or so many of it, just when it comes to porn, is our lack of understanding of the beauty and the purpose that God gave it for. And then we start getting outside of that, the ramifications of that, man, are just tragic.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about kind of to close out this episode.
Yeah.
Sex. It's a gift given by God in the covenant of marriage. Like, what if we're trying to cast a better vision of what God wants for that? How would you pitch that?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go to Jesus constantly. So for me, I think a lot of it is, and we talked a little bit about this in the single episode, is this idea of being complete or fulfilled, whether it's in a relationship and having sex, or if it's pornography or whatever kind of thing. And so when I say run to Jesus, if this is God's plan, then for the abundant life now, then I sure want to follow it, kind of thing. And then if I bring up the argument, well, I feel like I'm going to explode, or I have to, kind of thing, I'm going to run to Jesus for that as well, because you mentioned a few examples, Austin, and I push people on this as well. The woman at the well, and woman caught in adultery. Jesus constantly had women who were his disciples by him. Jesus went through not only terrible twos, he went through the teenage years, the 20s, as a single man, never having sex, women around him. He's our great high priest who has been tempted in every way as we have, yet without sin. I include sexual temptation as well. And he never broke. And so I'm going to run to him when it comes to anything, not only in identity, but in the enabling to, not succumb to that sin and that temptation. Because temptation's tempting. That's why it's temptation, man. I mean, it's hard.
Oh, yeah. It's like, this is a freaking Jefferson Bethke episode for me. I just read a bunch of Jefferson Bethke before I came. But he talked about, in that chapter on porn, about how Jesus, if we're looking at the overall story of the Bible, Adam, which just means humanity, that's where we are. Or that's like the state of humanity right now. Jesus, when he comes in, he is the new humanity. He's the new prototype of what it means to be a human. This is what God is trying to restore us to, of, like you said, of you can be complete as a person without falling into the brokenness and the sin of this world. That all the stuff that the world's promising you, it doesn't actually fulfill those deepest desires, especially when it comes into the intimacy and the like. Porn's not going to satisfy that.
No.
Like, if you really desire,
you're going to long for more. And here's the thing, I'll even say this, because I'll push on guys when they start saying about that being fulfilled and stuff. I'll be like, okay, how many times do you watch it? How many times do you masturbate? Like, kind of thing. Like, so you're telling me this fulfills you, but you just keep running back like as this thing that will not fill you?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Even when I think about it, I feel like I struggled with lust way more in high school. One, because the hormones were crazy, but then two, because I'm surrounded by beautiful women everywhere, right? I work at a cabinet shop now with just an old man, so the situation's different. But
oh my God. I would hope so, sir.
Yeah. When I think about my struggle with lust, I can clearly see a difference of when I was in high school. The pressure felt way more, and I felt like the temptations were stronger, and I felt like I was diving into it more, right? And I did not feel at peace. I was constantly like an emotional wreck. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this day, And then after graduating high school and like different situation, I get to be alone with God way more just because of the nature of my work. I feel way more at peace.
Yeah.
I feel way more like in control of who I am.
Yep.
And even though I still struggle, I'm thankful to God that like I've gotten this ability to grow and like really understand that no, I don't have to be a prisoner to lust.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You can fight it.
Mm-hmm.
You can fight back. And I heard someone say this today of like, Satan's just no match, or we're no match for Satan. And I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. Like, maybe you want to bring like the Calvinism argument or whatever into it, but like Jesus you say it all the time of we pray for strength or patience, forgetting that if we have the Spirit inside of us, He's already given us that.
Yep.
Just use it.
It's
Use those tools.
there. Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I think with the same issue with pornography is like, if you are, especially if you're like a single person and you're waiting till marriage and you're like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make it. Understand that if you have the Spirit inside of you, you have the spirit of peace and patience. Just tap into it.
Yep.
Dive into it more.
Yeah.
Is it Jonathan Merritt? Is he a singer? Do you? No, I don't know.
I don't know.
But I was listening to him talk about it because he's been very honest about his like struggles with pornography addiction, and one of the things he said was the way he fought pornography addiction was to dive deeper into God's word.
Yeah.
To dive deeper into the community, dive deeper into who God is, and just surround yourself with that experience. And your sin struggles are going to just naturally go away because you're closer to the Father.
Less and less. And that would be one thing too, man, just from a practical standpoint on the renewing of your mind. Like, so for a lot of people that's been so deep into it, it's like, okay, what can I do? If I tell somebody first step kind of thing, get some accountability, put some things on my computers that are, and phones and whatnot, so they're going to, not enable me to, I could get to it if I wanted to, but hopefully it's going to at least, cause me to pause and really think about it kind of thing. But I would say this, man, yes, going deeper into the gospel, like something even greater. I think this is all temptation. It's the removal of the situation, and there's some very practical stuff, like I just mentioned, that you can do, but it's still there. And something's going to fill that void. Something's going to fill that empty space kind of thing. And so just going deeper, and something greater's got to be there in that place, this empty kind of thing. So that's going deeper into the gospel. And I just want to say this too, Austin, man, like one of the things that really stretched my mind years ago and thinking about just the intimacy, and we keep using this word, but this oneness that God has created us as husband and wife to be in, the oneness from Genesis 1 on, like when they are one, and he's to leave and cleave his mother and father, and this oneness there to be, I mean, that's intimacy. That's not just talking about, they're a married couple. I mean, it's intimate. It's talking about naked and unashamed, sex, that sort of thing. So even biologically, I mean, how God created us, sex between a man, a husband, and a wife, in that there's nothing closer kind of thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like physically, if I can just paint that picture. But the other thing I would say is this, man, when Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians, when he's dealing with a lot of sexual immorality, and he says, hey, dude, if you go out and you have sex with a prostitute, you are one with her.
Yeah.
And so all these sexual exploits of times past, we know this. We carry that later on. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, because this isn't just, we try and make it, it's just sex. No, it's not. We know that deep down. It's really not. There's a lot more involved than just the physical aspect of it.
Isn't that part of the premarital process, is like having a conversation about your past sexual history?
Yeah, I always,
sure.
yeah. If they're not doing that conversation, you need to.
Yeah. What about with like pornography? Is that part of it too? Of like,
I'm going to talk about it. Yeah. Because for me, like talking specifically to the husband to be, is I'm going to say, hey, your eyes are for her only kind of thing. I mean, she is to be your greatest other than Christ. I mean, on the planet, on earth kind of thing. Your greatest pleasure, satisfaction, joy. I mean, it's your spouse. So yeah, anything that's going to rob you of that. And I will talk to her too, not as much maybe about what I usually, because what I see a lot when it comes to married couples where adultery is involved, for the guys, a lot of times, it's obviously how we're wired kind of thing. It is visual.
yeah.
So maybe it was pornography that led to this, or somebody at work or whatever. And then for the lady, it's usually more emotional, and so it's somebody giving her attention that's kind of meeting needs that the husband isn't, kind of deal. So we're going to talk about all that before we get to that, because I'd rather have that conversation premarital counseling than I would, okay, my marriage is about to be over because I've kind of strayed, and whether it was pornography or something else.
That's right. Plug for premarital counseling right there. If you're seeing a premarital counselor and you're not talking about these things, get a new premarital counselor.
Yeah. I think
these things are not going away. I mean, We've talked about this. Dudes especially. Oh, well, once I get married, this will go away. I can watch all the porn. I can have all, whatever kind of thing. But once I get married, she's going to be it kind of thing. Eyes on, they can talk that.
Right.
But those seeds that have been planted beforehand, they're there. You feed it, it grows.
Yeah, and you haven't gone too far. I think that was one of the worries for me, was like, crap. What if I've seen too much? Mm-hmm. Like, have I went so far that I've went to the biggest hit possible, and I've forever done damage that can't be undone. Yeah. And something I just had to learn was, like, going back to like the Jonathan Merritt thing, was I need to get closer to God, and that's going to start doing some of that, undoing some of that stuff. He's going to start restoring me through that. I think about when we look at how to fight temptation or sin and all that stuff, it's practicing those spiritual disciplines. And I know that's something like the church in the West we kind of like done away with. But the silence and solitude was important for the early church fathers for a reason. Yeah. Of Jesus purposefully went out into the desert constantly to be alone with the Father, to restore his spirit, to build his spirit back up, so that he could then fight the devil. Yeah. It makes you stronger, so that when you go back into the world, you can bring that spirit out there too. Yeah. And I think for people struggling with pornography or lust or whatever, remember those spiritual disciplines. It's very simple, ain't complicated. Yeah. We ain't telling you to pray at certain times of the day. Just get alone with the Father, prioritize that, and just bring your honest, raw thoughts to God and let him work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And part of that repentance, man, that turning is, of course, turning to God and trusting him. But it's change. And it's hard. It's tough. It really is. Because for a lot of people that are struggling and they're having some success and victories for a season and then failure again kind of deal, I'd say this, because most of those times right before the fall, the slip, the failure, whatever kind of thing, there is no spiritual discipline. You're not praying beforehand. You done made your mind up you gonna do it. You know what I mean? It's like, and it doesn't have to be like when life is going bad that Satan attacks. He's going to take you where you are. Sometimes that's during seasons of complacency. Sometimes that's when spiritually and life's going really well kind of thing. He's going to take you then.
Oh yeah. And so, just to close up this episode, I know I've said that once before already, but you guys on? Okay. To close out this episode, I think the big push that we're trying to push out there is get a new vision for sex. Yeah. Reject what the culture's pushing out there, and cling to what Jesus has promised us about what sex and marriage and all the goodness there is. Mm-hmm. Don't buy into the lie that Jesus takes the fun out of life. Yeah. He has a beautiful way for you to explore sex and sexuality and all that stuff. Absolutely. In the confines of how he actually made the good gift. Yeah. And so dive into his word. I was thinking Ephesians 5 of the husbands love your wives. Mm-hmm. Of a lot of times sex is like degrading to women, how we've promoted it in our culture. Mm-hmm. But the way Jesus is promoting it is sex is going to be a way to serve each other, serve both the husband and the wife. And it's just this beautiful, loving picture. Go read Song of Solomon. Yeah.
And I'd say even practically too, Ryan and Austin. Both. Yeah, both. Is if you're a parent, grandparent, especially if you're a parent kind of thing, though, you need to be having these. I hope you heard that earlier. I was 6 or 7, Ryan was 11, Austin was young. We first were exposed to it. So you know where your child is maturity-wise and things of that nature. So you got to use some godly wisdom to that extent. But you need to be having these conversations because they're going to get exposed to it. And it's either going to be by you, according to God's truth, or it's going to be by the world and lies that are going to be planted very early on. So have those conversations, not only just about sex, but okay, if they're not ready for the sex talk, man, be pouring into them, whether it's a little boy, little girl, that they are image bearers and where their value lies and their purpose and things of that nature. Like, speak that early on, way before you have the sex talk.
Yeah. Because
you want them to know just how, loved they are and
show them the good life that
absolutely.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Paint that beautiful picture of what marriage is supposed to be. I was thinking about James and Dina, of how one of the things I've learned, I don't even know them that well, but one of the things I've pulled from their marriage I'm taking with me is they love to have fun together. And I see that, I'm like, yo, that's a good picture of marriage, is a couple who enjoy to pick at each other and have fun with each other and go try like axe throwing and kayaking and all this stuff. Like, that's a good representation of like a Christian marriage on display, Yeah,
absolutely.
But that's been it for this episode of Into the Fray. We thank you for listening. We thank Ryan for showing up and, man, just contributing what you did.
Thank you.
We love you. Thank you. Please rate, subscribe, and that's it. This has been another episode of Into the Fray. We want to thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast on your podcast feed. And we will see you next week for another conversation.